Hello and welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. This is a channel dedicated to helping men self-improve, and we do deep breakdowns on just how to do that. In today's video, we're specifically talking about how to stop being a weak male, okay? And you have to understand most guys are conforming to society standards and becoming weaker men by the generations. If you listen to old-time radio in the 1950s and 1940s, you can hear a difference in just the testosterone in the voices of the radio hosts at that time compared to the modern day, "Hi guys, welcome to my channel," the YouTubers and podcasters that we have today. Not all of them, but just listen to the voice differences between the two. It's very eye-opening, and in my opinion, this is being done intentionally. And we can get into that in a different video, but for this type of video right here, we're just going to be giving you guys the steps to breaking free. If this is something you've been struggling with, maybe you're raised in a single parent household as I was, and you're trying to regain your masculinity, become a man, and understand what it means to actually step into manhood. All right, because you know, when you're raised around women or a single mother, it's difficult for you to sometimes learn what it means to actually be a man without a father around. You sort of take different influences in your life that come and go. Maybe your coaches if you played sports growing up, or the manly neighbor next door that would work on his car, or just the occasional guy at church or wherever you grew up. There's sometimes a guy that will step in, but then, you know, he's not your dad, so you learn little bits and pieces of manhood as you grow up, but it's not the complete full picture. So what I want to do with this video is give you guys the full picture of what it means to step into your manhood, set boundaries, and stop being a weak beta male man that gets walked all over, not just by women, but also by other people in your life, like your bosses or your coworkers, or just people in your day-to-day life in general. So no further ado, let's dive into today's video. So the title of this presentation is Stop Being a Weak Male. All right, if you enjoy this presentation at any point, feel free to drop a like on the video. It gets it out to more men. So the biggest lie, we have to talk about this. What is one of the biggest lies that we've been told growing up, or maybe you still believe this? The biggest lie is your greatest weakness as a guy is women or sex. So you're probably asking yourself, why is this a lie? You know, from what I can tell, a lot of guys seem to be controlled by women or manipulated by the possibility of hooking up with a woman. So they give over their strength to that woman. You know, we've talked about this in the Sunday sermons we've done on this channel. You're giving thy strength over to a woman. So that would seem like that would be possibly the greatest weakness that a man can have, right? But why is this the biggest lie? Well, it's not actually hitting the root issue. So what do I mean by it's not hitting the root issue? Well, here we have our beautiful drawing, the beautiful drawing that I drew in Canva. I hope you guys enjoy my beautiful Picasso artistic skills. I got an A and I was in kindergarten, so, you know, just kind of grew up mastering the arts. You can drop a like for it. Anyways, this is not the root issue. The root issue, what we see here on the outside, is sexual issues, right? So that's what we're seeing. But underneath the surface, behind the scenes, the sexual issues that a man struggles with, or when he's giving his power away to a woman and he doesn't value himself, that actually stems from his self-perception. His biggest issue as a man is actually how he views himself at a core level. And maybe this is something you're struggling with right now. This is something I've continuously had to work on because it's so deeply rooted in my subconscious mind. We've talked about that on the channel as well, how we're programmed at such an early age that you really have to go inside and reprogram or backwards engineer all of the gunk and the filth that you've learned while growing up. So intimacy and women is not one of our greatest weaknesses, as we just talked about. One of our greatest weaknesses is the way we think about ourselves, our self-perception, how we view ourselves, not how others view us, but the inward self, which will always end up projecting outwardly, just like how the roots and the condition of the roots will always burst forth out from the soil and show the condition of the roots and what's underneath the soil that can't be seen. So how we think about ourselves, the way we think about ourselves, this also reflects in the way we think about ourselves in relation to the opposite gender, women. We've actually been programmed to believe that we need money, looks, possessions, we need to be self-sacrificing. Now, before we continue, some of these things definitely can help you, right? They can definitely draw interest to you from certain types of women, I should say. But we've been programmed to believe that we definitely need these, and without them, we're going to live a miserable life and we're not going to be able to attract any women at all. But this is a lie. This is actually your conditioned perspective. This is a conditioned perspective also, I should add, because women run the economy. Women are the biggest consumers and the biggest spenders. Therefore, they need you as the man to believe in this conditioning and this programming, so you'll spend more money and you'll stimulate the economy, keep the system running. Okay? So the way you perceive something actually has a domino effect in your life. So the way you see one thing trickles over into how you see something else, which then hits the next domino of how you view another issue, all the way down the line of different self-beliefs and perceptions. And over time, let's just say that this first domino is when you were like 1 to 5 years old, and this domino is maybe your teenage years. This domino is you right now. The domino from when you were 0 to 5 years old, getting socially conditioned and programmed, is still affecting you to this day. And it's just in a chain of command and reactions to the other social conditioned programs that you've been living under from all those years before. Your perception about something actually creates emotional responses, right? Guys usually make bad decisions when it comes to women. In fact, the number one thing that a man gives up is his manhood when it comes to dealing with women. We see this all the time. Guys are afraid to set boundaries, put a woman in her place, because they fear losing her, that she'll walk away and she'll go hook up with the guy that she told you not to worry about. So with no or limited knowledge about what manhood actually is, what ends up happening, you got to check these statistics out. And this is the reason that most guys have limited knowledge when it comes to understanding what manhood is. Here I have the statistics of children living with a never married mother from 1968 all the way to 2014. And as you can see, look at this. It's almost above 50% now of households. Over half of households have children living with a never married mother, a single mother. So that accounts to, here's some of the statistics broken down. 25 million children are growing up without fathers in the home, and that's 40% of kids in America. So because of this, and I'm probably talking to you that's watching this, you most likely are affected by this. Most men, me and you, I grew up with this, are susceptible to listening to a woman and doing what she wants instead of what he knows is best or better for himself. A lot of times, as logical, rational thinking, left-brain men, we actually should be listening to our rational minds. But we trade in our rational minds and what we know to be right in order to supplicate or please and satisfy a woman because we fear losing her or being rejected. We've all been sold a lie, guys. What most guys have been taught about what women want, it simply isn't true. And in fact, what most women have been taught they should want, that isn't even true either. To understand what men and women really want, we actually have to go to the roots beneath the surface once more. We have to learn human nature. In fact, true masculinity is when you conquer the feminine aspects of your behavior. that's when you step into manhood, authentic, real manhood, not leaving one drop of feminine energy in you. And that's also when you'll notice that women are choosing you more often. You'll notice more eye contact. Women will start randomly touching you. They'll want to be around you. They'll feel this masculine aura, this presence about you. You'll be turning heads when you walk into rooms, especially if you carry yourself in a way that doesn't have any feminine nature in it. You're just a straight man and you're walking with power and authority, and you walk upright, you're confident in yourself, and you understand your value. This is because you polarize to become a woman's exact opposite. And a lot of times what you see nowadays is these nice guys or these simps, these suckers, they think that if they act more feminine, they talk in a high-pitched voice like this, and they say, girl, go girl, okay. And they try to fit in the mold, right? They try to sound just like a woman. They chameleon to sounding like women so that they can fit in and build trust with these women. What ends up happening when they do that is they become a negative charge just like a woman is. Okay, if we're talking about charges, which is positive and negative, you have two negative charges, they're going to repel each other and repulse each other. We're going to talk about that later as we move forward. But as a man, in order to keep the circuit running and the circuit whole, you have to be the positive charge to her negative charge. That's what will actually turn the spark on and keep the battery and the electricity flowing. That's what creates a union, the positive and the negative coming together. Not two negatives, not two positives. And I know that's crazy to say nowadays, but we're controversial on this channel and I don't care. I know it's the truth and I'm going to keep speaking it. Drop a like for truth, by the way. And when you become the polar opposite of a woman, this includes stop allowing your emotions to rule over your logic, and you truly understand women. Okay, those are the two things that will happen. So let's talk about female nature now. Women who are sincerely attracted to males, not these fake feminists or these women that are easily manipulated by the social conditioning that they're being force-fed by those above. Those women that aren't manipulated, that are truly feminine and want a man, they're going to be attracted to men, okay? They're actually going to be repulsed by a man who thinks like a woman. They don't want a man that behaves and thinks like women do. Think about how women talk about other women. You know, they usually rarely trust them. They're extremely judgmental towards them, or they make comments on their clothes, their bodies, how they carry themselves, how they talk. Oh, she thinks she's all that? Oh my God. Oh, who does she think she is? You know, that's just how they, if you've ever been around women, you've heard them talk about other women. That's how they talk about them behind their back. They're also, at the same time, it's kind of ironic, they're also easily influenced by other women. So as much as they rarely trust them and they're judgmental, they're also very easily influenced, kind of have a hive mindset when it comes to other women around them. Not all, but most of them. So where does this come from? Well, a woman's natural insecurities and jealousies, that's where it comes from. And these are the traits that beta males will also have in them, because instead of having masculine energy running through them, these weak, effeminate simps that are running around nowadays, they have basically taken on a woman's effeminate nature, and they're actually going to have these insecurities and jealousies no different than a woman walking down the street. So because a real woman is always going to be looking for her polar opposite, which is a masculine man, if she's a feminine real woman, she's going to have to weed out the weaker males. We've talked about this before on my beta male test videos. If you haven't seen that, check out that video at the end of this video. It's amazing. We do over an hour breakdown on the two videos combined, talking about the tests that women throw at you. Definitely want to look at that video. There's a lot of deep knowledge in there that you won't find anywhere else on YouTube. So she constantly tests a man's inner strength, because once again, she's doing this because it's an innate survival instinct. She needs to be certain that the man she's selected and allowed to possibly impregnate her is who he says he is. He's congruent internally with his inside and how he feels about himself, and it's being expressed outwardly in the world. and he's not just faking the funk. Why would a woman risk her life and the life of her children by choosing a weaker male? So now we're going to talk about what a woman's true nature is. So number one, women aren't naive. Get that out of your mind. Women are not stupid. They're not naive. They're not weak, and they're not helpless. They're not sugar and spice, and they're not everything nice. In fact, women are a lot smarter than you've been led to believe. Okay, the ditzy, dumb blonde. Well, she's probably dumb because she's just smoked her brain cells to oblivion and done shots of tequila off her girlfriend's belly button. She's actually dumb. So we're not talking about the ditzy blonde here. We're talking about just your average woman that's walking down the street. And even the ditzy blonde, she's still a lot more socially dialed in than the average man is. Okay. And she's also much more manipulative because of this, because she's not as physically strong. She has to use her emotions and her psychology to manipulate. And she's been doing it since she was a little kid with her dad to get what she wants. So she's learned it over time. So we're going to talk about, if she's not sugar and spice, what is she? All right. In fact, women will lie, cheat, they'll deceive you. They'll create different situations to get what they want, different scenarios to influence situations, maybe even get friends to break up or get her girlfriend to leave her current boyfriend so that she can swoop in and sleep with that guy. I've maybe been in a situation like that. That's why I can speak from experience. All these things women will do. Okay, so don't be deceived by this. So she's doing all these things and she understands how to play chess in order to manipulate things in her favor to get the end result. And she does this with everyone that's around her, including the guy she's with. She's usually very indirect about what she does and how she does it. In fact, most guys will never see this coming. And the second thing about her nature is a woman will constantly look for areas of weakness in a man so she can find points of leverage or an advantage against him. Yes, guys, this is the unfortunate truth that I've been trying to get across on this channel for about 2 years now. Women will always test you forever. Now, the tests will slow down and stop occasionally, but if you choose to date a woman, those tests will continue and she will constantly see if you're truly the man that you claim to be, because she needs to feel secure with you. And the more tests you get, usually that means you're starting to slip or show signs of weakness or cracks in your solid foundation or pillar. And she's just testing the foundation. She's pushing against the pillar to see, hey, does this pillar give away? Oh, it's starting to chip. And it breaks. And then she leaves you, okay? So she's going to constantly test you if that's the case. And the tests are going to get more extreme, and then it's going to get disrespectful, and then she's eventually just going to leave you. So don't be that guy, okay? That's the moral of the story. She then uses these points of leverage, the weaknesses that she finds in you. Maybe you're insecure about the size of your ears, that they stick out too much. That's my insecurity that women usually use on me. And I had a woman do that to me one time, and I took offense to it. You know, I showed that like actually it upset me, and I was like, hey, but there's other things that I do. Like, you're just focused on my ears like sticking out, and like, oh yeah, you should wear a hat to like balance out your face. That was her tactic or whatever. And I believed. I started wearing a hat. I started being weird. Okay. So because I myself felt insecure about my ears sticking out a little bit more, another woman said I had a really big head, but I'm also a bigger guy. So the math's not mathing there. You know, I shouldn't feel insecure about that. But I did. You know, I grew up with a huge nerd head and a huge forehead and stuff like that. So I felt very insecure about that. And a lot of times when you grow up that way, you don't really, even though you grow up and you look different, now that you're older, you carry those insecurities of when you looked a certain way when you were younger. And that's something I still work with. Maybe you can relate to that as well. You really have to get over that as a man. And a manipulative woman, unfortunately, what she'll do is, if you feel insecure about that, like I felt about my ears and my head, she'll say something like a snide remark about it just to test you. See, hey, is this guy, he seems solid in all these other areas of his life, but let's see if he's insecure about his height, his ears, the way his nose looks, whatever it is, his body, the way he wears his clothes, and we'll push on these different things to see if he's solid all the way around. So she's pushing on the pillar. Oh, he's insecure about his ears. Breaks the pillar right there. Boom. So then she uses these points of leverage to then manipulate the men in her life. She even does this with her dad, her coworkers, boss. Every man in her life can be easily manipulated by her. So we kind of talked about the bad side of manipulation and how this can happen if you have insecurities and she finds out about these insecurities and that you're insecure about it and you openly show that you're insecure about it and let it affect you. We're going to let this blue triangle right here on the left side represent your standards or boundaries, okay? These are the standards and boundaries that you set, and anything that is not the shape of the triangle or fits in your standards or boundaries. You can think of these as like the little blocks that kids play with sometimes at like preschools, where they like put these little circles and different shapes through this like little box thing. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. And if it doesn't fit, it's like jamming a circle through a triangle. It's not going to work. So if what she brings to the table is a circle or a sphere, she's trying to put it through your standards and boundaries. It's just not going to work out, right? It's not going to fit. She's not a match. She has to go. It doesn't matter how good she looks. It doesn't matter how many times she blushes her eyes, gives you those anime eyes where she's like, oh, hi. Like she just, how girls do. They're so cute sometimes. You can't be affected by that, okay? You can't be affected by what she brings if it's not in alignment with your standards and boundaries. She can't just bring looks to the table if you're a real man. She has to contribute to your mission and your purpose. And she loves that when you do that, by the way. So, on the other hand, if what she brings to the table is in alignment with your standards and boundaries, well, then, you know what? You assign her into your program as a man, and whatever her strengths are and whatever you need her for, therefore, then you can implement her in your program for success. Okay, it's not a one-way street. You also want to be helping her with her stuff, but you can work together in tandem as a unit, as a force to be reckoned with, to go to great places together. A real man, like we just talked about, he has boundaries and standards, principles, all of those things. He will not violate. He's not going to change his standards and principles because a woman is beautiful or might have sex with him. He's not going to change his principles because of that. These aren't just something that he says. He doesn't just say, oh, I have boundaries and principles. No, these boundaries are not like clothes where you can just put them on for a second, walk out, present yourself a certain way, and then at the end of the day, take them off. No, it's like a tattoo. It's going to be a permanent fixture in his reality that people have to be in alignment with, or they have to leave his life because he's living a certain standard and way of life, and he's not going to change this way of life for anyone around him just because it might offend them or trigger them. And this is what you need to step into as a man. If you're trying to become a strong man that has boundaries, this is what you need to really listen to. In fact, his boundaries become her boundaries because he's made an impression upon her as a strong masculine man. She feels his energy and respects it if he's a strong man that's able to lead. So he sticks to them no matter where he is, whether that's at home or it's at work or it's anywhere in public. It's not like a t-shirt you just put it on one time and, oh, I have boundaries and standards in this situation, but when I go over here somewhere else, I take off the shirt and I take off my boundaries and I let people walk all over me. No, you gotta stick with your boundaries no matter what, no matter who's in front of you, because that's speaking volumes to you at a core subconscious level, okay? And you really need to step into that if you want to become a strong male and a strong man. The average guy actually, he's afraid to share these things with his woman because he's afraid of her running away. He's afraid to share with her that, hey, you know what? If I'm going to invite you into my life, I need you to make me lunch every day. I need you to cook for me and clean the house on Saturdays and Sundays. I need you to, or whatever it is, I need you to help me on my mission and my purpose. Because you just bringing you know, the poon to the table, that's not going to be enough for me. Okay. I got my right hand right here to do that with some oil if I need to. No offense, you know, obviously it's different, but that's of such low value to a man that's on his mission and his purpose, and he's able to control himself enough that she needs to be bringing way more to the table than just what's between her legs. Okay. So a woman, if she's good at, let's say she's, I don't know, like a mathematician, she can help you if you're running a business with your finances. She can help you run your finances. She can manage some of your business and the analytics behind it, you know, if she's good with numbers. You want to include women on your purpose and your mission, not just for intimacy. And I write, sure, she might stay with the average guy that's afraid to share things with his woman, but she actually loses all respect for him. Okay. How many times have you seen women be disrespectful towards a man because he is a nice guy and he's afraid to actually speak what's on his mind, and he tolerates disrespect and BS? There's someone in your life right now that you've seen this happen to. There's a man out there every day, every second, that gets his balls clipped. So here's how you become the man you were destined to be. Let's talk about it because this is such an important thing. All right, the golden rule. This is the number one thing I need you to take away from this video. You must be, at all times, the king of your own kingdom. You're a man, all right? Be proud of being a masculine man, having balls, having testosterone, having the gender that built this world up until the point it is right now. You know how freaking awesome that is? And not even including the fact that you're one of millions, if not billions, of sperm cells that made it. You know, Usain bolted it through your dad's testicles all the way into your mom, right into the cell, the egg. You dove in like it was Easter, baby. Just swam around. You made it. So carry yourself like it. You must be the most powerful and dominating force in your own life. When you take the king's throne position in your own life, the women who accept you in that position will immediately give you power. They feel it. And because of this, it's your responsibility to then wield that power correctly. You don't want to abuse it. Instead, you must become a knowledgeable, wise, understanding, and indomitable leader. In turn, a good woman will submit to a man who's then capable of leading and teaching her. But on the other hand, a woman will not follow a man who's directionless. I should put male because he's not a man. A directionless man is usually an emotional man. He's usually a beta male. His directions are effeminate. They're all over the place. Emotions means all over the place. Chaotic. Okay, just think of chaos. Think of a messy room, which most girls have. Logic, on the other hand, rational thinking, like you have as a man, mostly. That's our dominant mindset. It's steady and it's calculated. So think about it this way really quickly. Why would a straight woman that's feminine be attracted to the same energy that she already has, right? A feminine woman, we talked about it earlier, she's going to be looking for her polar opposite, which is you, the positive charge. She's a negative charge. That completes a circuit. This is a simple battery circuit image right here. The light turns on. There's a function that happens here when the two come together that creates life. It's not two positives coming together. It's not two negatives coming together. The negative charge, the feminine, and the positive charge, the masculine, must come together for the power to activate. But the power won't activate when you have two positive electrons coming together, as we can see in this picture right here, or two negative electrons, because they're alike, they're coming together, they're going to repel each other. So this backward society thing, you know what I'm talking about, the different ways that society has been flipped upside down nowadays and transitioned. You see that? Yeah, That's set intentionally, and we're going to talk about that later on in different videos besides this one. But a positive and a negative electron, that's the natural order of things. That's how things actually are supposed to be in order to create a fluid unit and a system that works. And what we're trying to do is flip things around, okay? So attraction, positive and negative, man and woman coming together. Repulsion is masculine energy and feminine energy. Those repulse each other. A masculine energy needs a feminine energy, and a feminine energy needs a masculine energy. So I want you to be proud of your masculinity, okay? This is your God-given birthright. You've been born a man for a reason. It's not easy, okay? But it's awesome. We have testosterone pumping through our veins. We can put on muscle easily. We've built this whole system. We carry a ton of life force in us to do whatever we want to put our minds to. And you know what? We're the stronger gender. So embrace this. Be grateful for this opportunity in life. Understand that we're here to grow. We're here to learn, especially as a man. It's more of a challenge. But when you face your fears as a man, when you push through, when you work on yourself and improve, the sky's the limit. I mean, just look at history. Look at all these great guys that have come before us. That can be you. Maybe not at a grand level like that, all of you, but the few of you, you'll be able to make a dent in some way in your little world, okay? And that's what I want you to realize. Be proud of your masculinity. No one's talking about this anymore, and I want you to embrace it. Grab your nuts when you wake up in the morning and be like, I'm a fucking man. I love being a man. Embrace it. Be grateful. Thank you so much. If you made it to the end of this video, drop a like on the video, hit the subscribe button, trigger the YouTube algorithm in any way possible. Maybe you watch this video again or leave it on in the background so it gets more watch time, more guys can get this information. We are being shunned by the YouTube algorithm for talking about topics like this, but no one else on the internet is really doing breakdowns the way I'm doing these breakdowns for you guys, and I'd appreciate all the support we can get. I want this message to get out. I'm very passionate about this. This is my life calling. I love you all. Have a blessed rest of your day. Stay safe, friends.